welcome to our Q&A. I'm Bipolar Abdul.
I'm Ebony White.
I'm Naomi Carter.
And I'm Anna Pop.
I initially started becoming interested in drag, just interested in drag on the back of watching RuPaul's Drag Race initially, after having people convince me to start watching it, because I always thought drag was actually really quite weird. And so after that, I became quite interested in drag, and I actually went to London to watch some of the RuPaul's Drag Race queens. But when I was in London, I actually saw a completely different world in the London drag to what you see on Drag Race, and that's what actually inspired me to actually start wanting to do drag and bring that to Doncaster, because I hadn't seen anything like that in or around Doncaster.
My closest link to inspiration to start doing drag was actually you, Ebony.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it was like meeting you and sort of being around people like you that made me realise that actually it was something that I was allowed to do, because obviously before that it's always been a man's game. I always thought it was a man's game, but yeah, from meeting you and being brought into that sort of queer world, yeah.
I think I've kind of got to agree with you as well. I think that I did grow up watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and that is where it initially started, but there were one Pride, and I saw Ebony White from a distance. I don't know if you can remember, but you had like your dreaded hair, and you were just gorgeous, and I wanted to come up to you and be like, can I have a picture? Like, can I say hi? But honestly, you were like that beautiful that I was scared.
Oh, guys, stop. Like...
We're just all fangirls.
Come on, Anna, you tell everybody why I inspired you to do drag.
Well, I'm not saying mine because mine's you as well. Well, anyway, my first involvement with drag was also watching Drag Race, but also I was friends with Ebony a long time ago, and she started doing drag. So like the very first time that she got in drag and all that kind of thing, then we kind of went through the process together, and she borrowed my clothes and stuff like that. Yep. So I've kind of watched Ebony evolve over the years, and like Bipolar, then I didn't think that drag was something that I could do, but then seeing Bipolar as well and the whole family, then that's why I started doing drag. Yes, anyone can be a drag queen.
Yeah, anyone can be a drag queen, but I think it's important to sort of widen it out a bit and say that anybody can be a drag artist. Like, the whole point of drag is to like blur all the lines of gender. So I think it's important that we give a platform to all drag artists, gender aside, kings, queens, or just artists.
Absolutely, yeah, no, fully agree. Absolutely, anybody can be a drag artist, a drag whatever they want to put on the end of it, because obviously everybody has their own preferences, and I personally have no issue with anybody's form of drag and where they want to take.
So I think it's important that everybody can take part in drag, because like for me, I don't know about everybody else, but like drag is just an expression through makeup and through like clothes, outfits, costumes. So I feel like it'd be like a little bit silly to say that like certain people wouldn't be allowed to do that, or that they can't take part through it. It just doesn't sit right with me. So I think it's for everybody. It doesn't matter about like your gender, your sexuality, anything like that. It just having a good time.
So Drag Race has obviously been around for quite a while now, and it's ended up being pivotal to drag culture. Obviously, I have kind of mixed feelings being a woman towards Drag Race, in the fact that I can't take part. RuPaul's been very open about the fact that it's kind of a men's competition. I feel like it was good at the start. It brought drag more into the limelight, made people see that bit of queer culture and understand it a bit more. But I also think it's done that thing where it's come in, it's done some good, it's hung around, it's stayed too long, and now it's starting to be detrimental.
Yeah, I think there's also like too much of it at the moment as well. So there's like Drag Race this, and then it's like 2 weeks later and there's like a new season of Drag Race that's on, and I just feel like, as good as it is, like as entertaining and stuff like that as it is, I feel like it's it's just everywhere as well. I think it's a bit too overwhelming.
Drag Race is great, but it doesn't need to be kind of the benchmark for what drag is. And sometimes if people only watch Drag Race and no other type of drag, then they start to think that that's the only way that drag should be, when in fact it's a lot more diverse and interesting and different and varied. So it's important, but it's just one piece of a bigger puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
I like to say actually that people are fans of Drag Race, they're not fans of drag. Especially when you go on the internet and you see all these people who are telling these queens how they should and shouldn't be doing this, and it's like, but you've got no idea because you've never been involved in this. You've got no idea, and I think that is one of the biggest problems with Drag Race. Obviously, I know that it was what got me interested in drag in the beginning, but it's not what kept me interested in drag in any way whatsoever. I do still watch it. I watch every single episode, but it's not the be all and end all of drag. I just watch it for entertainment, and I do like to see the drag that's going to be on there, you know, the elevated drag, but that's what it is. These people have put thousands and thousands into that because they've had to, because they're going to go into this great big reality TV show that they wouldn't have necessarily if they were just working locally.
Yeah, like it's scarily becoming this thing that people see it as like that's the end point. You know, you go through your drag career and then you get on Drag Race and then that's it, you've made it. That's the big thing. Whereas like for me, that's not even on my radar. You know, I don't want to be judged to them standards. It's not my thing. It's not where my journey's going to go, and I'm totally happy with that.
Absolutely. And as well as I find it very disappointing the way that there's gatekeeping. They don't let certain people apply or be part of it. And I know that they have symbolic gestures such as they're starting to include certain people with certain gender identities, but that's all it feels like, is just a symbolic gesture just to say it is over, I think.
Say with being 15 and not being able to access clubs and bars, like I'd recommend just getting everything that you can on social media, because even though you can't make the connections that you can in person, you can almost find a way to build those connections for when you are old enough.
Right. And like now's a good time because everybody's digital at the minute. Yeah. So like it's a really good time to jump in and start doing that, you know, start making art films and music videos and, you know, get on TikTok and all that sort of stuff. Another thing I'd say is like reach out into your community and see if there's anything going on there. Like you don't necessarily have to be in a club or a bar, you know, you can be at community events, community centres, things like that.
And I would say, because you're young, hone your craft as early as you can. Learn to sew, learn to do your makeup. So by the time that you actually able to step out into those clubs, you're off to a flying start.
Like
I wish I had started young.
Yeah, definitely.
Whilst I had time. You're still at school. You've got plenty of time. Use it wisely.
Well, for me, like I've had like countless problems with me and my gender. We've had a very complicated relationship, and I didn't even realise it for a long time. I just thought I was kind of weird and didn't fit in anybody's jigsaw anywhere. And I remember like looking at women on the street and thinking like, when am I going to look like that? When am I going to be like a proper woman? Like it never came, you know. I did false nails, makeup every day, all that sort of thing, and it still didn't feel right. And it weren't until I started doing drag and meeting people and learning about like non-binary and stuff like that, that it just sort of all clicked. You know, I sit outside the binaries, and that's why I don't feel like I fit anywhere. So it's been kind of like a journey to self-discovery for me. And gender is completely fluid in ways that I think I could have never have understood without drag.
Yeah, and I think for me, it really helped me to understand, I think, myself too, like, especially when it does come to gender. Not that I ever thought I particularly struggled with my gender, but I always had that inner feminine side to me, which I always felt like I needed to let out and bring out and show to the world, that everyone knew it was there, but I always thought I was hiding it as well as I possibly could. But it helped me to feel more comfortable expressing that, like, because I always felt there was something to be ashamed of having a more effeminate side to me as a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that I've had any issues with my gender, but I'd say that when I went to college and I did performing arts, I still had like this camp side to me, but it didn't occur to me until later on when I started doing makeup that like these two crafts kind of mesh well together. And when I found that like I could perform and do my makeup and absolutely feel it, I just thought that it was like a great way to express how I was actually feeling.
Yeah, I think drag's great because there's no pressure to present in any way, like gender-wise. You can literally do something different every time, you know, take bits from feminine and masculine, or take bits from feminine and masculine and mix it all together and just express how you feel in that moment. And I think that's what's really, really helped me, because I've been pressured so much all my life with feminine things and femininity, and it's just, that's not me, that's not what works. So drag's been like a playground for me to figure that out.
Yeah, I think I feel quite the same in the fact that obviously I never felt that masculinity was my thing, but felt pressured to try my best to, as badly as I didn't do it, to be that way. So yeah, this has given me that freedom to express myself.
My drag as well, like I do say like I present feminine, but you all know me. Not everybody might not know me, but like I'm quite masculine in the way that like I speak, and just like, well, not overly masculine, but like there's always like a little bit of that element in there, and I think it's good to just to mix it up, keep people on the toes.
That was our Q&A for the Right Up Our Street R&D Social Connections Fund. Hope you enjoyed it, and we would love to speak to you again at some point. Thank you.